Hello friends, I am Rohinth and I've got rank 247 the just culminated civil services examination 2017, and I've been allocated Indian Revenue Service income tax. I am here to guide you as to how to read the newspaper and some questions regarding it. So first we'll see why we need to read the newspaper, because a lot of people, a lot of candidates, they feel that it takes a lot of time to finish the newspaper, so instead they can just read the current affairs capsule which comes at the end of the month or at the just before the examination. So what is the point of reading a newspaper? So the basic thing is, the UPSC examination is a holistic one. It is not about mugging up and reproducing something. That is involved only in the prelim stage, that to an extent. Unless and until you have a holistic idea about something, you might not be able to clear it satisfactorily. Further, these days the questions that are being asked are completely out of the expectations of the normal candidate. So a newspaper will help you to improve your chances, and if you read the current affairs capsule with that, then it will be very much helpful, because it will be like a revision. So beyond that, it is important to note that the UPSC exam is not only about clearing the prelims, it is also mains and interview combined. So for mains, if you just go reading the current affairs capsule, that is not going to help you, because you need a analytical mindset for it. And similarly for the interview also, because the current affairs capsule is going to give you just your national level current affairs or something which is common to every state. But whereas when you go into the interview, you have to know certain things about your state also. And apart from that, there are a lot of things which are not covered in the current affairs capsule, and somebody might miss out. So it is better that we read the newspaper regularly. Now moving on to the next question, which newspaper to read? See, most newspapers will be giving you the same sort of information, but certain newspapers like the Hindu, which I usually prefer, provides you the news in a segregated manner, that is national, international, state, sports, business, in that manner. And the number of unwanted news are also less in this newspaper. But when you compare it with other newspapers, Hindu is more concise. It gives you what is required. It will be much smaller in volume, much lesser in volume compared to other newspapers. Now we move on to what to read in the newspaper. So there are a lot of news. Some news are not required for your examination perspective. Some are very much important. So considering the Hindu, I am going to explain this portion with respect to the newspaper, that is the Hindu. So initial few pages are related to your local news, that is your city news. Say if you are from Chennai, then it will have news related to Chennai municipality and the surrounding regions. And slightly if you move further in the forthcoming pages, you will see news that is related to the state. So before the portion of the editorial, everything that is there is limited to your district and your state primarily. But having said that, I am not going to say that you are not supposed to read any of it. There are certain portions which are required. So we will discuss that later on. Moving on to the editorial. Editorial is by far extensively required for your mains preparation, because it gives you the perspective as to how to analyze a lot of things, a lot of questions, a lot of topics. It gives you, it provides you the mindset to jot down pros, cons, what are the issues in a particular topic, and what are the possible solutions, because a lot of editorials are written by experts and people who are well known in that field, eminent personalities. So this particular section is extremely important for your mains. So people who are preparing must prepare with the mindset that they are going to write the mains, not just stick to prelims. So this whole segment is very important. Next we have the national news. in the national news also there are certain portions which are not so important. For example, there are some places where the news is regarding some political leader making or passing some comments about another political leader. So these sort of topics are not required for us, because in the UPSC, as you know, no question is going to come saying that what did this leader say, whether this leader say regarding this leader as so and so, point number 1, point number 2, this sort of question never comes. So we can easily avoid such things. Whereas questions that are related to policy making, related to bills, or some current issue that is going on, for example Rafale deal, or combat role for women, all these things, these can be considered important both for your prelims as well as for your mains and even for your interview. Furthermore, you have the international section. Even in that section there are certain things which are required and certain things which are not required. If you see, there are some small segments wherein it mentions some tidbit sort of news articles wherein it says that so many people died in this place. There are so many news articles regarding some Hollywood actor or some random news article. So those things can be avoided. Rather, what we need to see is the international relation part of our syllabus. With regards to that, we have to read the newspaper. For example, some war that is happening, or some international organizations decisions and the role played by India in it, and what are the implications, all those things will be mentioned in some of the articles. So it can be either related to bilateral or multilateral relations, or completely unrelated to India also. For example, US and Russia fighting, and there's some news article regarding that. That can be used in one of the answers also, because when we are as you know, the world has integrated globally, so all these news are also very important for us. Further, moving on to the economics section, there you see that a lot of news articles will be regarding this company has acquired so and so company for this rate. All these kinds of articles are not required for us. Similarly, you can see that some company has launched a new article or some new device. Unless it is something like a groundbreaking technology or something, that is not very important. What is required for us is you have to regularly see the news articles regarding banking, monetary policy, and government policies with regards to your fiscal management, fiscal policy, or whatever the government is doing, whatever some organization which is relating to management of economics is doing, and some other general news article pertaining to this region. Outside this, regarding some companies, news, all those things are not that much required for us, so we can just stick to these areas. After that, you have the sports section. That is not very much required unless and until you have something related to it for yourself. For example, if I have my hobby as following some sport, right? So in that case, I will have to see that particular segment for my interview from that perspective. Sports news is not that much required, but nevertheless sports administration is highly important. Certain news articles, if they are related to BCCI, recently there was a lot of happenings within the BCCI administration structure, and the Supreme Court had intervened. So all these news articles regarding BCCI or the administration of some sport, governance of some sport, that is very much important. So this forms the broad picture of how which topics are important in your newspaper. Friends, reading newspaper initially might be very difficult for you, but with time you'll be much faster. You can easily pick out the news articles which are important. Within those news articles you can easily pick out what is important, and gradually your pace will improve. So no need to panic. Just keep doing just stick to the basics and keep doing what you are told, and just continue with it, and with time your speed will naturally increase. So initially you might take some 3 hours, 3.5 hours maybe, and maybe gradually with time you can reduce your time for newspaper to about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, or even lesser. It depends upon your speed. So nothing to panic, just keep doing, just keep reading the newspaper regularly and you'll be better off. Thank you.